I would say 100% referral, because I don't really advertise for my products and services, except people that may find me through healthcare.gov, because as a health insurance broker on that platform, people can find me. I just don't like people to randomly find me, right? You know, I have all of these great people that can screen client for really the type of client I'm looking for. And so I thought as we sort of launched down this conversation that the fact that I don't ask people for if I can do an insurance review for them. You know, I'm not asking people to buy insurance from me. I've just tried to take a different approach. And I thought sort of sharing some of that approach would be, you know, a value to the group here. Before I sort of launch into that, there were a couple of things that stood out for me from the things that people said, you know, in you know, their messages and what they prioritize. And I'm sort of wondering what jumped out to you as well. All right, so as you think about the things that people said, what were some of those real differentiators? And just for the sake of time and to give me more talking time, I'm gonna, you know, not open it up, you know, for dialogue here, you know, because again, we have a lot of things to cover, but there were a couple that I think are incredibly valuable, and Carla's popping them in the chat. I love that. Adding value to customers. Transparency, you know, Becca said that. You know, there's something about transparency that's incredibly powerful when you're trying to build trust with people. People feel like they're at a disadvantage for knowledge and information in a lot of conversations. So if I say, hey, it doesn't matter what health insurance plan you pick, I'm not paid as a percentage of premium. I'm paid a flat rate based upon the number of families that are covered under the plan. That builds some confidence for them that we can really have a dialogue around the plan that's right for them. The premium has no impact on me. And so why wouldn't I try to take things off the table to build confidence and transparency? So transparency for me, you know, was a big one. People did say customer service, but I think Alexis took that conversation to another level when she said customer experience. And I think the reality is that if we don't give a good customer experience, how are we going to ask for referrals, you know, at the end of that process? So what's keeping us from asking for more referrals? Maybe we don't deserve it, right? You know, maybe we haven't delivered a great product or service, and so we're reluctant to ask for something because we haven't delivered, right? And you know, I'm not perfect, right? My wife will tell you that anytime you ask her to. You know, the reality is, are we asking for something that we believe we deserve, right? And so I think, again, you know, when we are delivering a superior customer service, you know, the ask potentially takes care of itself, but we still want to ask, right? And we're going to talk about that here, you know, on the call. You know, better knowledge, I think does continue to make us more valuable, and it just gives us more things to talk about, you know, where we do seem smart. So I think that was important, making a difference in people's lives, right? You know, when you hear Amy talk about, you know, how signs, you know, bring a business to life, you know, that's a different conversation than I make signs, right? You know, I'm breathing life into someone's business. But there was something that Erica said that I think we could take into our conversation here on asking for referrals. And that is that she tries to provide, you know, spheres of influence, other opportunities for her clients to benefit, right? And so I think, again, I hope to just sprinkle in some how to ask for referral ideas sort of along the way, because there are so many easy ways to do it. And I think, again, like Ellie in the coffee shop, you know, what if she struck up a conversation with that woman, you know, who ended up, you know, having a spouse that was losing their hair and needed that service? Like, you know, you just never know what happens from conversations. But if I were to frame it in what Erica said, you know, I would say, you know, one of the things that I like to do, you know, is, you know, vet other vendors and service invoices for my clients that are satisfied with me look for are people that are similar to me, right? So if you're confident with the work that I do, it is very likely you're going to be confident with the people in my network. At the same time, I've really liked working with you. And so what I would ask is, as I find opportunities for you, if there are people out there that are going through some of the same things that you have gone through, that you believe I can help, I would love that introduction for you as well, from you as well. And so you're sort of presenting it with what you're doing for them, which is utilizing your network and saying, I would love the same from you, right? But you're actually making that offer first instead of making that ask. So thanks for the comments there. Again, this is the funny part. I called Alexis. I was like, so should I have a PowerPoint? Should I not have a PowerPoint? She's like, it's up to you. And I'm like, I'm generally a person that doesn't, I can go either way on the PowerPoint, but it's the conversation itself that is so exciting and engaging for me. And, for those that may not know, and I appreciate Becca and Alexis, for hearing me give a talk somewhere else and, inviting me to come here today. When Alexis said, what do you want to talk about? I gave her a list of, networking marketing topics. I said, you tell me, right? These are the things that can consistently come up on my mind. And I was leading, when I first started my practice, a group very similar to this. Net 2.0 was sort of taking it to another level, where we had business topics every week. And so I would carry around this notebook as an entrepreneur, new business owner, and I would just write down these topics that would come to mind for me. And I never once got to any of those topics because there's so much as a business owner that we face that every week there was something new. And for me, the best part of having an agenda is that it allowed me to go off topic, because if you didn't have an agenda, then you were just winging it, and no one wants people that are winging it. So, but what I have always done is just do a little research, into the topic. I'm not big on reading books, but I am big on researching online. And so I have pulled some sort of tips for asking for referrals, but I've also done my own research. And again, even in talking to Alexis briefly yesterday, I had a call with a digital marketing firm, that I'm doing some rebranding stuff, and they wanted to talk to me about, whether they could provide a proposal. And in the middle of that, I said, hey, I'm giving a talk, and asking for referrals tomorrow. Do you have that as part of your sales process, right? So again, anyone you talk to, there's an opportunity for you to learn from them. Here I am, I'm asking her, hey, what's your process for asking for referrals? And her response was the perfect one, which I will certainly share here as well. But if you're struggling with, this area, ask people how they're doing, right? If you feel like they are, and if they're not, again, continue to learn and utilize the opportunities to, when you're building relationships with people, to learn from others. So I'm going to hop into the PowerPoint. I apologize for those that hate PowerPoints, but it'll keep me on track a little. And again, we have until noon, right? Just joking. It's 47 slides. We're going to roll through them quickly. So let me share my screen. I did go ahead and close any personal health information that I had on the desktop. All of my passwords should be hidden now. So we should be good to go. So everyone can see my screen? Just a little head nod? Awesome. So this is about the extent of my sort of graphic design work. I found a Net 2.0 logo, popped it on the cover. I am super excited. We're ready to roll. Our topic is asking for referrals. I saw that when it was promoted, that it was promoted related to COVID, but I don't think that this conversation is COVID related. I think it's a broader conversation around, are you referable, right? And I know that's sort of a funny question. Why would people refer you? The reason they would refer you is because you are referable. And I want to come back to that conversation. A little bit about me and my business. You heard my mission is to prioritize a strong foundation so you can navigate the unexpected while emphasizing core values along the way, right? I'm an insurance broker, but it's really about building on core values. I want to build confidence through credible data and a tenacity for winning. I like to win. We all like to win, but I do not like to lose. I don't find that I have that same feeling when dealing with potential clients because I expect to win, mostly because they've been referred to me and I expect to win. Like if I don't expect to win, then why am I getting up to bat in the first place? But I expect to win when it really matters for my clients, right? And I think that's the key. I tend to bring a balanced approach. And yes, I'm in the insurance business. If I started my conversation with these are the insurance products I offer, not quite as engaging as communicating my mission, vision, overall philosophy. So again, we all want referrals, and the funny part, Amy, was I couldn't remember if this is the question that I had actually sent out. How would someone introduce you if they were referring you to your ideal client? All right. So I was, going back to my emails with Alexis, and I wasn't sure if that was the question. Frankly, this may have been the question, this prioritization question from the last time I spoke. It could be, but it's such a good question, and the answers were so great that I really appreciate everyone's response. As we have this conversation, I want you to think about, would you change how someone introduces you? Okay. So what's funny is I did this previously and I popped in an answer and I would say overall, great service, highly attentive to my needs. That was the accessibility, customized services, customer service overall, bless you, Ellie. Had the low cost, solution, explain the benefits, right? I'm a satisfied customer. Those are actually a lot of the things that we heard from the group, right? Right. So those things actually were somewhat predictable, right? They're all appropriate. But how can we sort of differentiate ourselves if we happen to be in a market or audience where people are going to use similar terminology, right? And I think, again, that's always the challenge that we have, even as we potentially ask for referrals. Hey, I would love a referral. Well, to what? And I think the challenge is always on us as the asker to be as specific as possible with what we're looking for to help people actually find it, right? And I'm going to come back to that idea as well. So I posted this question in a Facebook group, and I actually have the answers. And the question is, when you refer someone, how do you choose who to refer? All right, number one, you're in a networking group together. Two, someone who has sent you business to reciprocate to say thank you. Three, best fit for the job. Four, someone who hasn't sent you business and you want to build the connection. Five, best fit for the client. Six, you've heard good things but don't really know. Seven, first-hand experience of the quality of their work. All right, so I want you to just take a moment and see how you might rank these 7 items. While you're doing that, I'll check the chat. Oh, no, I can't. Whoa, we cannot jump ahead. So I can't check the chat. So who wants to?
You're getting, Dave, you're getting 3, 5, 7.
I say 7 first. I accidentally wrote 3, 5, 7 because I wrote it in numerical order, but in ranking order, 7 is first. The first-hand experience of the quality of their work. My second choice is 3 and 5 seem like pretty similar to me. So number 1, 7, and then 3 and 5.
Awesome. Anyone else want to share?
You're getting 7 as the top for a lot of people, 5s.
Yeah, similar to what Ellie said, definitely 7. And then I would try and fit number 5 and number 3 kind of tied for me, because not every person and personality might mesh together.
Yep.
I think the last one, and would probably be number 2, because I don't think it's a tit for tat as far as business goes.
You're saying number 7 would be your second?
No, number 7 is number 1.
Yeah.
I was gonna say my last choice would probably be ranking order would be 2, because I don't think that has to be a tit for tat for business. Oh, you gave me business, I'll give you business. I think if you give people business, somewhere down the road, someone else will give you business. So you just put it out there in the universe and then it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
For me, oh, go ahead, David.
No, go ahead.
For me, it's number 7. Number 7 is the first one, then number 5, and then number 3. The least one would be number 1. Because I don't think that means that they're perfect for the clients. I think if you're in a networking group, okay, that's fine, but that don't mean you're good at the job, and also that don't mean you fit the client well or something.
Absolutely. And again, number 1 may lead to some of the other items, but it's generally not the reason. And again, I put the question out there sort of to challenge the group and challenge thinking. What I would ask, and sorry, I can't see the chat, is did you answer as a consumer or a business owner? Right? Did you answer as a business owner, as a networker, or did you answer as a consumer of product and service? Carla?
I did both. I looked at it as business that I have sent to other people from experiences I've had with people. And then I've looked at it also from a business standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So the great part about this conversation is that there are no wrong answers. I think one of the things that you find is that people are always going to lead with 7. And because they lead with 7, that actually does tell you that if you're asking for referrals, where to start, right? You know, because if people are saying, I want to refer someone that I've already done business with, then go to the people that have already done business with you and you know, ask them for referrals. So, you know, that I think is very consistent, you know, with our overall thinking and approach. All right. There are a couple of sort of things that I see when I look at a list like this, and I just want to communicate a couple of them as we think about referrals and asking for referrals, right? Because that's really our conversation here. And that is, if I were to compare 3 and 5 and sort of differentiate the 2, you would say, well, you don't send an eye doctor in to do heart surgery because he has great bedside manner, right? You always start with the best fit for the job, you know, before, you know, what's the best fit for the client. Because if they're not the right fit for the job, then it doesn't matter how much the client's going to like them. They're going to be unhappy along the way. And that eye doctor with the heart surgery just sort of emphasizes that point. All right. So I do agree with Carla's comment about 2 to an extent, because what you find is that if someone sends you a lot of clients and you don't send them any, they're gonna start paving the way somewhere else. All right. The piece that that to me is more surprising than anything else, especially for an audience that wants to expand their referral partnerships, is why no one chooses number 4. And they don't put 4 anywhere in the top 5. 4 is generally in slot 6 or slot 7, just depending on sort of how you feel. The funny part about number 4, which is someone who hasn't sent you business and you want to build the connection, is that from a business decision standpoint, that is actually probably the best business decision to try to pave the way. And you know why? Because the easiest way to get a referral is to give a referral. And so, like, people say, how can I get more referrals? I would say you give more referrals. And so if we believe that giving more referrals is the path to increase the referrals that come our way, just as Carla indicated, right? You can give it here and it'll come back here, and that's absolutely true. That's called referral karma. And if you don't think it exists, just try it, right? Try to give referrals and see what comes back. Good things happen, but don't discount number 4. right? In terms of, how can I get more referrals, give more referrals, and that'll be your path forward. Because I can tell you firsthand that it does work. And so I've been in groups where I was getting a lot of referrals for people that needed financial planners from a post that I had done online. I'm not a financial planner, so I was uncovering referral opportunities for partners. And I referred a client to a financial planner who was in another group. And he said, you have a great planner in your group. Why are you setting business here? And I said, because I need to continue to invest in relationships, right? And the best way for me to invest in relationships is to continue to pave the way forward. So just wanted to emphasize that. So
wait, interrupt you really quick because I wanted to know, Carl, since you can't see the chat, Carla posted that she often refers people to gyms and personal trainers. Somewhat the same thing you said, trying, I'm sure, to build those relationships. So she would let people know about people in the gym arena or, home personal trainers, and then help build those relationships with them. So that I would imagine so she can get clients.
And so what are you really doing there? You're asking for referrals without having to ask. Mm-hmm. Right? When does asking referrals get great? When you don't have to ask. Right? I mean, that's really, that is our conversation here, because I'm not asking for referrals. I thought I would have to, but I haven't had to. And the reason, and we're still going to talk about some ways to do that, and we're going to get to that, very quickly. But again, I think the key is to make yourself referable. I was talking with a banker one day, and I said, at the end of our conversation, would you feel comfortable referring business to me? All right. And I didn't ask her that question because I wanted her to refer business to me. We were actually getting together for me to help her understand how to become more referable. Okay. And so that question through the course of our meeting, have I built enough confidence with you that you believe that I'm someone you can trust that can get the job done? That's the purpose of building the relationship, right? Is to put yourself in a position where someone says, we're aligned, our interests are aligned. And yes, I do think you're referable. And so I bring this up in that, first off, I love these white pants. I never thought I would love white pants. And all of a sudden I got these pants. I was like, these pants are the most comfortable pants that I own. And having seen the promotion, I wanted to wear this outfit today, but I brought it to Florida with me on my birthday earlier in the month and surprised everybody for a dinner party when I came out in that outfit, and then decided to leave the outfit in Florida. So, and there's a long story there, which we can discuss over a one-to-one. If I wore that every day, maybe it makes me referable, maybe it doesn't, but because I was willing to wear it once, right, it certainly increases my, the fact that I'm a person, right, and brings people a little bit closer. It's part of my brand. It says that even though I'm in insurance, I don't take myself too seriously, even though I have buttoned down and I pulled my hair over today. I don't take myself too seriously. And yes, that jacket does feel very good. I do feel very good in it. And again, I love the white pants. But I think the key is when you're talking to people, to try to build confidence with them, to put yourself in a position where you are referable, right?
All right, hold on. I got to interrupt you again because Ellie just posted in the chat that she denied your friend request the first time because she didn't think you were real because you had that outfit on.
I think she's lying. She definitely friended me. So.
Well, I friended you after I denied it because I'm like, who is this person?
It's okay. I take rejection well. So that's what it's one of the strong traits. Blinders on, right? And I somewhat mean that. Proactive referral marketing versus reactive, right? There is a reactive element to our business, and the question is, could we figure out ways to become more proactive in our referral marketing? We're going to talk through some strategies on that. But I think the key is, word of mouth or a business's customer base through the networks of existing customers, not only ours, but as we continue to think about centers of influence and our partners, trying to work through theirs. And I'll give you a quick example. I went to a group one time and I had an opportunity where I needed a commercial insurance agent to partner with because I don't handle commercial insurance. And so I went to the group and asked for an introduction for commercial insurance because it's something that people can find. And so I was referred to a commercial insurance agent who, on our first call, said, hey, I have someone that jumps out of airplanes and I need a life insurance solution for him. Can you help him? And I said, I can. And I did. And it was it was a great sale. If I went to that group and said, hey, can you refer people that jump out of airplanes? I never would have gotten anywhere. So, part of it is, understanding what you're asking for. And in this case, I'm asking for access to someone else's customer base, but by doing it because I have an opportunity to bring to them. Asking for referrals. And I'm sorry, that's not my role here. Mine's the combed portion in the front. It really needs to be part of our initial conversation, right? I think in most cases, we leave this conversation for the end and either hope we did a good job and someone wants to refer us, or we actually say, hey, if you're satisfied, can you share, 3 people that, I should be talking to. And again, I think the harder we want to work, the harder we need to work, the more likely we are to ask more questions and push more buttons, right? It's often ourselves that are holding us back because, either we don't want someone to be rude to us, or, we're comfortable and probably just not hungry enough to ask more hungry questions. And I put myself into that category as well, which is why I figured out other strategies to get referrals. But it really needs to be part of your initial conversation. And again, I just want to be sensitive on time. We'll probably spend about 5 to 7 minutes working through these slides. Amy, we're on track there time-wise?
Hang on. Let's see, it is 10:16, so we kind of need to wrap up. We close at 10:30, so
Yeah.
A couple more minutes.
Okay. So again, the conversation has to start from the beginning. Hey, I get paid in 3 different ways, through advice, through the products I sell, and by people referring me, right? And so, that's something that I'm going to come back to later in our conversation, right? It just sort of plants the seed to say, I'm going to ask you later on, but this is one of the ways that I do get paid, and it's probably the is for you because, there's less of a commitment. Cash in on compliments. Again, when people say, hey, you did a great job, that's a time to come back and say, hey, if you're satisfied, we'd love an introduction to 3 more people that I can help as well. Set goals. I think we could probably have a whole session on goal setting. What are our goals, for referrals, and what type, and, no different than me having this call where I knew I'd be talking about asking for referrals. So I asked someone, how do you ask for referrals? We're going to ask for whatever we want, right? So if you want more referrals, ask for more referrals. The more specific you can be, the better. I want, groups of 10 to 30 lives, probably 10 to 20, is sort of my sweet spot. The more specific I can be, but if I said I want groups of 10 to 20 and there's this company in Fairfax that I want to meet and so, oh, that person. Again, the more specific we can be, the easier it is for people to find. The first time they talked about, hair loss for Ellie or, something, whatever that first sort of trigger, should be an indication. Offer exceptional service, not just good service, but go back to the idea that we want raving fans. And the way we create raving fans is intentionally. We have to have strategies to do that. Don't accept any referral. I think there's a level of scarcity which says, hey, you may not be the right fit for me, and ask someone to prove it to you, right? There's nothing better than getting more buy-in, from people as well. Develop a referral system. I talked about it on the front side, plant the seed early. But on the after the sale, what sort of process do you have in place to say, hey, how did we do? Could we have done better? Let's build in some process improvements. And as part of that, conversation to say, if you were satisfied, are there some people that that may benefit from the products and services that I have to offer? If you could identify 2 or 3 right here, that would be great. And again, have that as part of your follow-up process, noting that hopefully you presented it up front. Integrate your referral requests with other marketing strategies. I'll just say, if you run a Facebook group, the easiest way to grow it is to offer incentives, right? So you're asking for something. We need to offer something. I'm asking for a referral. Well, what are you offering me in return? Right? So we've made this ask of someone, and maybe we haven't even put ourselves in a position to ask, right? And so that's what part of that conversation is, if we are going to ask for something, how do we put ourselves in a position to succeed with the ask? Because if the ask doesn't go well, you know what happens? We don't ask the next person. And now we've taken it out of our sales process altogether. All right? And a loyalty program, if that suits you. But the next couple of slides, and we're wrapping up here, really go to my sales process, and sort of a recognition that if I talk to people about insurance, that's fine. If I talk to people about their core values and their family and build sort of a deeper understanding of why, that it's a sales process that actually allows people to latch on, a little bit more, right? So if you don't have a sales process up front, people don't quite understand how to refer you because they don't quite know what engagement's going to look like, right? And I think that's really the key that I just wanted to share around sales process, is that when I shortchange the sales process, it makes it harder to ask for referrals later on. And the reason I've shortchanged the sales process is that maybe we're talking about something specific, we get off track, so maybe someone else is dictating the conversation, maybe I'm too busy, and if I'm too busy, maybe the customer experience isn't what it should have been, and so I'm more reluctant to ask. And so if we actually commit to these things all along the way, it makes it a lot easier, all right? And so I just wanted to sort of wrap in a different type of, if I were having someone introduce me, how would they refer you? I'm the guy that can get the job done, right? As I said to my wife, if someone wants a nice guy, I'm only like partially qualified for that, right? I'm not really the nice guy. I'm the guy that you want, when you need to get things done. And that's the sort of confidence that I want to build to try to make me referable, all right? So that's our conversation, and I am sticking to it.